Welcome to the Rise Above Show presented by RoofCon. My name is Diego Dante, and I'm thrilled to bring you inspiring conversations with some of the most innovative and bright minds in our industry. From business and entrepreneurship to personal development and growth, we'll explore the strategies, insights, and stories that have helped our guests rise above challenges, overcome adversity, and achieve their goals. So sit back, relax, and join us on this journey of empowerment, inspiration, and discovery. This is the Rise Above Show. Welcome to the Rise Above Show presented by RoofCon. My name is Diego Dante. I am here with our good friend, Joe Hughes, almost a recurring guest by this point. Joe, we had you on in 2022 talking about building a marketing plan for the year. We had you on at RoofCon 2023 on the Rise Above Show with Ty Backer and Daniel Zavadny. That was a quick show. And now 2024, third year in a row, we're getting you on here. You're competing for most for recurring guest of the show, like top recurring guest. So man, good to have you.
Man, I'm a regular. Thank you so much. And yeah, time flies. I guess it's so once a year we'll have to make sure that we check this off our list, because things are always changing with you guys, with us, and it's always great to be here, man.
And with marketing in general. And the fun thing about this, I was thinking about this morning, is that you and I have a common thing, that we are marketers who don't necessarily sell marketing.
Yeah,
we sell adjacent products, I guess. But so got some fun marketing content that we could put out without necessarily, I guess we would be different than most other marketers who would be here to sell you a website and ads and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we're not selling you leads in the DMs too. That's important to recognize, right? Right.
And if maybe, I don't know, that's one of my side hobbies, is DMing, cold DMing people. So
you got an alter ego there. What's your screen name so I can block you?
Yeah, it's my it's actually under Diego, but it's just my virtual assistant sending it out.
Okay. Nice.
So, all right. Since I've had you on for a few episodes now, I figured that we would do a new segment that would be fun and exciting. And I wanted to kick it off with this. So for the people that don't know who you are, what I did was I asked ChatGPT to give me 10 important bullet points on Joseph Hughes.
Wow. ChatGPT knows who I am?
ChatGPT does know who you are, and it also knew who I was, which I thought was really scary.
Wow.
So out of 10, I've picked a few of them. I'm going to read you the bullet points, and I want you to correct them and tell me if they're accurate or not. Okay?
Oh, man, this is fun. I've never ChatGPT'd myself, so this is fun, man.
I might even share my screen here so we could look at these together. So here we go. So if anyone's watching, here we go. And we'll delete my Amazon tab right there. All right. So here are 10 important bullet points about Joseph Hughes. We're going to kick it off with the first one. You are the founder of Contractor Dynamics. Joseph Hughes established Contractor Dynamics to provide specialized marketing training for roofing and contracting companies. Is that true or not? Do we need to correct the AI?
No, that is absolutely true. Founded in 2013. Yep.
Great.
Oh, it's cool how they give you the citations as well for where they got this info. Okay.
Yeah. So it says you are a marketing expert. You are known for your expertise in strategic marketing, helping businesses develop effective marketing systems and ensure consistent growth. Is that true or is that false?
Yeah, with an asterisk, I guess. I would I would not typically refer to myself as an expert in anything, because we're always learning. And it's one of those things where the more you learn, the more you realize there is to learn, the more you realize you don't know. And I love that aspect of life in general. However, strategic marketing, helping business develop effective marketing systems, to ensure consistent growth. Yeah, spot on. I probably, could not have written that better myself.
All right, let's pick a fun one here. All right, so you are the host of the Nailed It podcast. Hughes hosts the Nailed It podcast, discussing business growth strategies and featuring insights from industry experts. Is that true or false?
That is absolutely true, man. We release 2 episodes a week. One is usually a solo episode of me, and the other one is an industry expert. So yeah, spot on. We're about 216 episodes in.
That's incredible. I hope to get that far. I'm struggling like one a week. I'm like, I need to perfect one a week before I go to 2 a week.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people start podcasts these days. And we've started and stopped a couple of times. We've been consistent for a couple of years now, mainly because we have a team and it's not just dependent on me. Thank God.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. Yeah.
All right. One more for fun here. So it says that you have a focus on consistency. Hughes emphasizes the importance of consistent marketing efforts and long-term strategies rather than short-term tactics. Is that true or is that false?
Guilty. Yes. In fact, I just went through this exercise so have you ever read a book or gone to like a seminar or something like that? And there's an exercise where it's like, hey, email 5 people that know you the best and ask them, what are your top 3 strengths, your top 3 weaknesses, whatever the variation of that might be. So I'm a part of a coaching group. I'm a member of a coaching group right now. And that was our homework. So I actually sent that to 5 people. And that has been a consistent piece of feedback so far, is consistency being one of my strengths. So we'll have to,
nice.
We'll have to agree with what the market tells us, right?
Well, I appreciate you doing that exercise to kick it off. And if anyone has not asked ChatGPT to give you 10 important bullet points about yourself, you should try it out, because that was quite an intriguing exercise. So
yeah, dude, I can't say I'm blown away because AI is extremely, amazing. I mean, that was spot on. Wow.
Yeah, it was cool. So, all right, talk to me a little bit about Contractor Dynamics, because you've been in this game for a while, and anyone that's been doing anything for longer than a few months knows that, you're constantly having to shift what your focus is, and maybe, hopefully the mission stays the same throughout, but sometimes the different tactics to achieve the mission change. And so as things have, you've been in your business for a while, what is the focus for Contractor Dynamics right now? What are the things that you guys are working on at the moment?
I appreciate you asking. Yeah, you're right. The mission's always the same. Our purpose is to equip people and companies with the tools to transform and grow. And our company's Contractor Dynamics. So that was intentional back in the day, naming it in such a way where it's not just like contractor lead gen or contractor websites or contractor marketing. So it's evolved into a few different things now. And so a few years ago, a lot of people, knew us as the Facebook ads guys, because we were kind of one-dimensional in that aspect. And that was back in the day. I'm dating myself now, like 2016, 17, that sort of thing, where a roofing or contracting company could afford to be one-dimensional with their marketing. And then it was actually quite easy. Fast forward to 2024, and you can no longer be one-dimensional in your marketing. So we need a multi-dimensional approach. We need that Swiss Army knife approach of marketing, where it's never just one thing. It's never just Google. It's never just Facebook. It's never just yard signs, truck wraps. They all go together to create that omnipresence effect. So one of our core values is helping our clients win. And for that reason, we've forced ourselves to evolve from a Facebook ads training company into a marketing education company, where we're educating our clients and our customers on a variety of things. We have courses on Google, Facebook ads, Google ads, AI, video, referral relationships, offline marketing, all this stuff that, quite frankly, I don't think we do a good enough job at letting people know what we do. Some of that's relatively new, But yeah, we went from micro, like focused on Facebook ads, to macro, where we're focused on really all sorts of marketing because it's all important, and that's what we need to win in today's noisy world.
What are some of the different I I know you've got a few different things that you're really known for. Like you've got the 5 Mile Famous. Let's start with that one. Really, like what is 5 Mile Famous? How did you come up with that? I feel like a lot of people have started picking up on that as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. As a marketer, Diego, you throw things out there, you just kind of test different like bits of language and you kind of see what sticks. And that was just one of those things that just kind of formulated naturally over the past few years. And I started throwing it out there. And then I would go to an event like RoofCon and people are like, oh yeah, I think the 5 Mile Famous, that really makes a lot of sense. So you just get this market feedback, right? So we doubled down on it. We've created different, products, and I'm in the process, early process of writing a book on it with that title. So basically what it means is any local company, you could be a chiropractor or a roofing company, a restaurant, whatever that might be. You don't have to market to your entire metropolitan area or your state or the entire country, as we see a lot of roofing companies doing, like putting out content to like impress other roofers in other parts of the country. You just need to really focus on your 5 miles. Okay. Now, if you're in South Dakota, maybe that's 50 miles or 25 miles because you're more rural, but you just need to pick your radius and focus there and just focus on just getting as many people in that radius as possible to know who you are, what you do, and associate with you in a positive way, because you're not just marketing to your next customer. You are making sure that you're getting in front of everyone. So you're that top of mind company when anyone is in a position to refer you, recommend you, tag you in a local Facebook group, mention you at the gym, whatever that might be. You want to be that company that everyone thinks of first when they need your services. And so there's a whole lot more involved into it from a marketing perspective. It's getting everyone in that radius to know who you are. And that enables you as a company to be operationally much more efficient because you're not driving hours in all sorts of different directions. You're really focusing on your area. And for most companies, that's what you need. Now, you might be a bigger company. Therefore, you might have different markets, different little pockets of 5 Mile Famous. Or like I said, that radius is bigger. But think about that. My goal every day, and your goal as a local, not you, but like the audience's goal as a local roofing company, you should be waking up every day and thinking about and acting upon, how do I get more people in my 5 mile radius to know about us than knew about us yesterday? And if you can act on that every day, the compound effect of that is like astronomical. It's crazy. So that's your goal every day as a business owner. You've got to make that part of what you do every day.
When I took I love referring to my break from RoofCon as my 9-month sabbatical. When I took my 9-month sabbatical in 2022, I was running a roofing company, and one of the things that happened to me was we started running Google local service ads, and we started really dialing it down. Like we figured there was a couple things that we could do to really optimize it and started getting more calls from it. And we got to the point where we were getting like 20 plus calls a day from Google local service ads. And for a small, roofing company, that was incredible for us. Like we're like, we don't need anything else. We could just focus on this. And we literally stopped doing everything else just so we could focus on that. Well, then our general contractor license, we renewed the general contractor's license, and I forgot to upload. I didn't know I had to upload the new one to Google. And then all of a sudden, the phone stopped ringing. And I uploaded the new one, and it still took 3 weeks for it to get back to normal. But I use that example to say you literally need to have the Swiss Army knife that you were just talking about, because you can't fully rely on any one thing, because the second that gets taken away, what the heck are you doing? So in light of that, what are some of the, let's say, non-sexy things that that roofing company operators should be working on that, again, maybe aren't going to bring you in all of your sales, but some of the things that you do see working that maybe a lot of people aren't doing?
Sure. So what a lot of people aren't doing, I'll start there. We have the opportunity to look at, a few dozen roofing companies marketing like every week, right? Prospects. We do a lot of, Facebook Lives. We do a lot of webinars. We do our own events and things like that. So we're constantly like kind of doing our research. And even with our own clients who are paying clients, we're analyzing what they're doing. And the biggest gap that we consistently see is lack of faces on video. And what it comes down to is consumer behavior, right? Like think about the services that you buy, not necessarily products on Amazon, but like the services that you buy from either locally or whether it be whatever it might be. If you're into hunting or supplements or, outdoors, running, like those companies that you're investing maybe thousands of dollars into are the companies where you're seeing their brand, their content, their videos over and over. They're not the companies that are displaying some gimmicky ad and they hook you in with some kind of like gimmick, right? They're the companies that you're seeing over and over and over again. So that's the way that we all buy today, and that's where we need to be. And video is huge. Social media is still gigantic. Like the average American adult spends over two hours and 23 minutes every day on social media. So like that's where we need to be, and we need to put our faces on video. So as much as like maybe our audience, this particular audience is in tune with like, yeah, I need to do video. You need to do like way more than you think and just be consistent with it. Even me, we put out a lot of content, but like we're still like 20% of where I want to be in terms of like content volume. And then also the quality, the creative of it, because, even 2 years ago, reels, with the captions and everything like that, the colored captions, those were like, brand new to the construction industry. And we were one of the first ones that started doing them, thanks to our video guy, John Cater, and I remember everyone was like, yo, your videos are sick. Like, how you doing that? Right. I was like, I don't know. Ask John. Like, I don't know. Now it's like everyone can do that. Everyone can spit out a reel with nice captions on it. So like, that's like the foundation now. Now it's like the creative is what's going to drive that engagement. So I'm rambling here, but faces on video, getting more creative. That's a biggest gap that we see. And then again, like you asked, like, what are some of the common, like non-sexy things? Just go back to like how you make buying decisions. What are you doing as a property owner, as a homeowner? For example, like I'm hiring, various contractors for a house right now, landscaping, power washing, air conditioning, right? We just have a lot of that stuff happen to be going on like at the same time, which is not ideal, but hey, it happens, right? And so what are you doing? You're doing a lot of research, checking out websites, checking out reviews, checking out videos. Google reviews are absolutely huge. So just think about how you make those purchasing decisions, and you've got to be there. Google yourself. Like Diego said, like go ChatGPT yourself. Well, Google your company's name. What shows up? Look at your reviews. Look at like your social media. Is that going to make someone feel comfortable enough to reach out to you as a trusted advisor? It's those basic things. I mean, we don't need to get too fancy these days. Even with video, we don't need to get fancy. It can just be a simple, selfie video, cell phone video, nothing more crazy than that. So, making sure that you show up the way that you want to show up and someone's Googling you, making sure that you're getting out there with faces on video consistently. Those would be the two things I would focus on to start for sure.
One of the things that I always think of, you're putting you just said, put yourself in the buyer's shoes. For me, it's always, I just had to go through and get some stuff done because we were selling our house. So similar thing. And we, if I have to fill in now, there's contractors form online and wait for them to call me.
Oh,
I'm going to jump off a cliff. And so for me, it's like, if you have some sort of instant appointment setter on your website or something as simple as that, where I could just stop searching and filling out forms and hoping that somebody calls me, like I'm done. The second I fill out the second I have an appointment set, that's it. That's all I need. So that's huge. I don't understand why more roofers aren't doing things like that. Just make it simpler for your clients to book an appointment with you.
Dude, thank God. Thank you. Thank you so much. I thought, sometimes we get caught up in the tech world, right? And I'm like, I don't want to call people. I just want to like text someone or go to the website and book an appointment. Saying, yeah, we're busy. We're running businesses like power washing company. One came out yesterday. I'm waiting for another one to call me today. But if I could go on their website and just schedule an appointment, man, I mean, it would be so much easier for me. And then, that company would win more business. I mean, yeah, just make it simple. I mean, that's the number one, like, complaint that everyone has about a contractor is like, man, it's hard to get in touch with them. They don't call you back. They don't follow up. I mean, that was the case 10 years ago when we started this business, and it's still the case today. It's wild. If you can solve that, man, like, that's huge. Like, if you can just solve that one problem, it's huge.
RoofCon is definitely the best conference I've ever attended, and I've been to several. We go to several every single year.
I bought the tickets. I said, we're going.
This year they broke 5,000 tickets, so it's growing bigger and bigger every single year.
If you're not here, I don't know where you're at.
Definitely coming back 2024. See you then.
RoofCon, the #1 conference for the roofing and solar community, is coming back to Orlando, October 23rd through 25th, 2024. Get your tickets today at roofcon.com.
We filmed an episode yesterday for your podcast, so I want to ask you a similar question. This wasn't even the same exact question, but this was one of the topics that we had discussed. And the question is, why do you think that so many roofing contractors fail? Or let me rephrase that. Why do you think that the roofing contractors that do fail?
I want to be thoughtful about this because it can go in different directions here. I would go back to probably the first business book I ever read, which is E-Myth Revisited, Michael Gerber, where you have the technician and the business owner. And most people start out, myself included, right? As a technician, you're good at doing some things. I was good at some marketing things. Not great, but good enough to start. You start a roofing company, you're great at sales or production. Usually it's sales, right? So you're great at that. You can do that thing. You can build up to, a couple $1,000,000 a year, hustling and grinding and selling. Then you hit that ceiling. And then that's where you need to build those business skills. You need to build the skills of, like, leadership, of management, accountability, knowing your finances, marketing, training people, tech. You need to build all those skills. And I have, I'm not, knocking anyone, because it took me a long time. And I have a business degree from a pretty good college, and it still took me a while to, like, years to build these business skills. I'm grateful that, sometimes I think about, I'm grateful that we just kind of survived long enough for me to learn those skills, right? Because a lot of people don't. And there's certainly times when I felt like we weren't going to make it, because I'm like, man, I just don't, I need to develop more skills, just really taking ownership of that. So I think it's that. I think it's maybe a lot of people just don't know that they have to develop those skills. Like, maybe ignorance, thinking that, hey, if I'm just great at sales, then I can make it. And that'll carry you far, but it's not going to be sustainable. So I really think that's it. Just a lack of awareness of, like, the amount of skills that you need to build out. And then another one that I see a lot is the owner operator, the technician, never pause it. Like, getting so good at just waking up every day and going to work and putting on your boots. And I have that. I have a lot of that in me because I grew up in the construction industry. Like, I have that blue collar work ethic. It's a hard habit to break. It's easy to wake up and work for 14 hours. That's easy for me, probably for you too, right? It's harder to pause and to take a step back and say, hey, I can't do this forever. Like, I need to figure out a way to delegate and elevate.
This isn't scalable.
Yeah,
the amount of times I've asked myself, is what I'm doing scalable?
Yeah, it's broken, right? Like, it's not what's the word? Like, it's not a badge of honor that you work 14 hours a day, right? So you got to get clear on what you want, and then pause enough to be like, all right, what I'm doing is not working. I need to delegate and elevate. Usually that's hiring an admin or a production or something like that. But that's what I see a lot. That's what I see a lot of contractors really getting stuck and just not being able to break through. And then that bleeds over into, family life, health, mental health, all those different things. So, that's why, we do some business coaching for our clients as well. We have a mastermind. I'm extremely passionate about that because we're helping people, like, build better businesses and better lives, as I know, you guys are with RoofCon and Revolt and all that as well.
You've brought up some interesting topics there. I want to poke into some of those. Talk to me on what you think is. I hear a lot about work-life balance. What are your thoughts on work-life balance?
I mean, yeah, it gets into semantics, right? It's like balance. Well, yeah, that word it's not real. So people call it like work-life blend. I heard a good one recently. I forget what it was. But just all in all the time. It comes down to like getting clear on what you want and why and what your 100% is. And so what I mean by that is I got this from Gino Wickman, who wrote this book called Shine. Gino Wickman is the founder of EOS, but he just wrote this book called Shine, amazing book. I think I have it here on my desk somewhere. Oh yeah, actually I do. I'm a big book nerd. So I want to give him props for that. But one of the things he talks about is finding your 100%, which means how many hours are you working on average per week and how many weeks are you working per year on average. So your 100% is that optimal point. And it's going to take years to kind of dial this in. It's where if you work any more hours, there's a law of diminishing returns, right? You're going to be exhausted. You're not really being productive. And if you work fewer than that 100%, less than 100%, then you feel like you're unfulfilled, because for driven entrepreneurs like you and I and the audience, we need a certain amount of like activity and work to be like fulfilled. That's what drives us. So finding your 100%, and that goes into like, hey, what does your family life look like? What are your other obligations and responsibilities and passions look like as well? So you've got to be aware about it. And for me, it's, looking at where we are in this season of life. Our kids are 12 and 9. And, I think life is getting busier, travel, soccer, and things like that. So over the next, call it, 9 years, I actually want to work fewer hours, but accomplish a lot more. And so that's going to come in the form of delegating and elevating, building a team, creating leverage, creating systems and things like that. So it's going to be unique to everyone, but you've got to do that soul searching on what makes the most sense for you and be really in tune with your energy. When do you have the best energy? How can you manage your calendar appropriately? So for example, I don't do any meetings before noon because before noon is my creative time. Alex Hormozy calls it the maker time, right? That's my maker time. I
just started doing that like 2 weeks ago.
After his podcast where he talked about it?
I don't remember if it was him or someone, but recently I saw something that said something about that. And literally like 2 weeks ago, I started blocking off my mornings.
Yeah, he calls it the maker time and the manager time. So that's exactly what I've been doing for years. I mean, I hate when Hormozy just steals all my ideas, but whatever, he's cool. I'm not going to talk trash because he can beat me up. He's stronger than me. But yeah, I mean, so I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but a lot of it comes down just really being intentional about what makes sense for you at this season in your life. And I know it's hard with social media. I love guys like Gary Vee that just work 18 hours a day. And sometimes I'm like, well, I feel like less than because I'm only working 9 hours a day and I'm a scrub and I'm, but you just got to kind of tune some of that out and like really get in tune with what makes sense for you, your family, your business, your energy, and what is the highest and best use of your time.
I love that so much. And since beginning of 2023 and really now 2024, I've been trying to dial down, like, what do I want out of my life? Because I've been through the years now and not to say that, I've put in as much work into starting a company or anything like that, but with RoofCon, I've been here almost since the beginning, and we've had many a nights where I've been here at the office till midnight and after, just working through projects. And right before RoofCon every year, it's the same. Like the last 6 weeks are always crazy, and like there are seasons where I am working 70, 80 hours a week in for RoofCon. However, I'm going to get a little vulnerable here with what I'm going to share, but like in 2020, which was the season that I was like the most into like what I was doing with my career with roofing and with RoofCon at the same time and all these different things and never being home and all the stuff, was when my family life suffered the most.
Mm.
And I have just realized that I needed to have a gut check on a lot of that stuff. And I needed to really put into perspective, what are my number one non-negotiable priorities? And for me, that's being a good husband and being a good dad. And so now, as much as I can, and my team knows this, like I go home at 5 every single day, and and my phone is on silent from 5 up until the kids are asleep, which is typically around 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And so that is my just my most valuable time that I need to be in with my family. Now, even though my phone is on silent, there are 10 people that I have assigned that basically can call me, and my phone will ring if one of those 10 people calls me. And it's mainly like my parents, my siblings, and the people that work here. And so if they call me, I will answer, make sure like, hey, is this an emergency? Do I need to call you? Can I call you back later? Whatever. And this has been huge for me and for my family, for the kids. Like, I make sure that I'm available as early as I need to be. If I need to work on stuff after the kids go to bed, whatever, I'm dedicating the most important hours where I can be with my family. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't really, there's things that I'm passionate about. RoofCon is one of those things, but it just comes secondary to the things that actually matter. Like, it doesn't actually matter if my family life is suffering. And the Iron Cowboy spoke at RoofCon in 2021, and he used a quote that said something along the lines of, no, I'm going to butcher it, but no, like good thing that happens at work can compensate for failure in the home. And I've just trying to put that into practice has been huge for me. And again, there's going to be times where that doesn't necessarily work. But there's also that expectation with my family that sometimes I will have to step out, work on this thing, take a phone call, whatever. But for the most part, like, I'm going to put this as a priority. And that's been a huge help for me.
Good for you, man. I actually struggle with that. I in theory, I kind of have a similar schedule, but it's hard. I've not been good at it lately as far as like putting the phone down. Sometimes I'll leave it in, the office. Sometimes like I'll leave it in my car to try to just, gamify it. Like what's his name? James Clear talks about in Atomic Habits, like physically put your phone or turn it off or put it in a drawer. So I try that a lot, but it's really hard. It's really hard. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur, you have flexibility. I do as well. It's great. Like yesterday I went to my daughter's, she's in 3rd grade, went to field day for like an hour in the middle of the day. Today I'm out of here at 4. We're doing something with my son. So that just helps you prioritize so much. Cause it's like, all right, I know I'm out of here at 4 o'clock today and I'm not going to get everything done, but I need to get my priorities done. And that's huge.
Well, and the other thing is on the opposite side, my family knows when I'm at work, I'm at work. And like sometimes I have to turn things away that are happening during work hours because it's like I have to get these things done. Like today specifically, my son has a weird random football game that's earlier in the day. And I'm like, I will be there when it starts, but I can't take the time to like get him there to the early practice and all the other stuff. And I'm going to make sure again that I'm there when, by the time that the game starts, but there's certain things sometimes that I also have to not be available for. And there's that expectation too with the family. And I think now that we've worked on that it's been really good. So
yeah, communication is key. I mean, when your kids get older, like your kids are a little younger than mine, but like 12 and 9, now I can start to communicate with them. Like, hey, this week, like in April, we went away for 10 days, but prior to that, like that week was a little bit nuts. And, I was in here till like 9, 10 o'clock at night, but I communicated with them like, hey guys, this week's a bit of a grind. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be really spending a lot of time with you, but we're leaving on vacation Friday and my phone was off, basically for 10 days. So, just, leaning into that and just communicating with them like, hey, this is why I'm working hard. It's not all the time, but just want to, let you guys know I'm aware that I'm not really being very present, but it's very temporary.
Yeah. What are some of your non-negotiable daily activities?
Oh man, I have a lot. And sometimes I was actually just talking about this with Elizabeth this morning, our COO, and just kind of talking about your, standards and consistency and things like that, which I think that I'm somewhat known for, but it's a spectrum. And I think sometimes I can be a little bit too rigid. So I've learned to be a little bit more flexible on that. I'm working on that, but certainly like every day, wake up. And it's pretty rigid morning routine. I just like to bookend my days with like a good morning routine and a good like pre-bed routine, because that's what I can control. I certainly try to control my schedule throughout the day, but things happen, things take longer, whatever. But that's when the world is quiet. That's when, the family's sleeping. So non-negotiables, I'm drinking water every morning before coffee. I do a little gratitude journaling every morning. I do the verse of the day in the Bible app every morning. I read 10 pages at least every morning. That's an old 75 hard habit that just is going to stick with me forever. I work out every day. I have to. It's one that just sets me up for the day. I usually do my social media posting in the morning, and that's like my morning routine. I also live by the power list. Andy Frisella, who founded 75 hard, has something called the power list. And basically it's like you have 5 things every day that you choose. I choose either the night before or the morning of. I make sure that I have my 5 priorities. I use Evernote. So I just have a running list every single day. And again, back to priorities, like I'm not going to get all my stuff done today. As long as I get that power list done, which are things that professionally and personally are just moving the ball forward, moving the ball downfield every day. As long as I get those 5 things done, I win the day. Sometimes I get those done by 10 in the morning. I'm like, awesome, crush the day. Not that I'm taking off the rest of the day, but I know like I'm good. Whatever else happens, I'm good. Right. So that helps me to prioritize, because, as driven people, our to-do list never ends. It's always growing. But if we can prioritize those 5 things, like what are those things that are going to move the needle today, that compound effect, just doing that every day, that's been huge for me. So
the guy that trained me in roofing, you might know him, Ken Younce.
Yes.
Ken trained me at Cornerstone, and he was funny because he was like, the only thing that matters is I go out and sell. So every day I have to go out and sign 3 contracts. And he was like, after I'm done signing 3 contracts, literally I can work on anything else, but I'm not working on anything until I get 3 signed. And he was funny. This was back a few years back. He would post a selfie at the golf course every single day, and for the team, because he was our top sales rep, and he would say, all right, well, I already got my 3, so now I'm out at the golf course. What are y'all doing right now? And but he understood that his, the thing that was most important for him was, hey, we got to go out, we got to sell 3 contracts. Like nothing else really matters up until we do that. And I think now if you were to ask him, he's got different, priorities in life. But yeah, finding what are the 3 things that are the most important that you need to get done, or 5 things to, if you're doing the power list. And that's huge. I'm about to have to be running a 5K every morning for the next month. So that'll be one of my activities for the day. And I wish I could say that I do that consistently, but I just don't, because I hate running. But it's been really good though, having a gym at the office, because I can't really escape it. I have to walk through it to get from my office to the car. So there's no getting rid of that. So
love that. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. Ken has his 3, my KPI that I focus on business wise every week is number of appointments for our company. So we work on that as a team, but like I obsess over that, because I know that like every company has that, right? That one number, like what, and Hermosi talks about this a lot. Like, what is that one metric that just moves everything else in your business? And for us, it's hitting our number of appointments every week. If we hit that, and they're, of acceptable quality, then everything else is going to just kind of fall in line. Not easily, but like, that's the thing I obsess over it every day. Maybe sometimes too much, maybe it's unhealthy, but that's one of my roles here. So
revolt to me is camaraderie.
Revolt is impact.
Revolt is a brotherhood.
Revolt is passionate.
Revolt is amazing.
Revolt is fulfillment.
Strength in numbers.
Accomplishment and legacy to kind of tell my story.
Revolt is intentional.
Accountability.
Revolt is life-changing.
Life-changing.
Revolt is growth.
Revolt against average.
1, 2, 3, revolt!
Yeah, I love it. One of the things that we ask our guests on the show, and I've started changing the format of it because I didn't like the rapid fire aspect of it, I guess. But one of the things that we always talk about is like, what are some of the obstacles that you had to rise above from starting in your business? And, you've talked a little bit through this in this episode of some of the, the things you guys were doing at the beginning and how that's changed. Talk to me through some of the, let's say, mindset obstacles that you had to overcome in the, 10 plus years. You guys have been in business 10 plus years now? Yeah. So
yes.
10 plus years you guys have been in business. What have been some of the mindset obstacles you've had to rise above from?
Man, I could go on for days here because everything is really mindset and leveling up your skill set. I would say the biggest eye-opening thing for me just kind of came in the last couple of years is surrendering to the fact that I did not have to be great at everything in the business. And so I had this mentality, this false assumption that, for example, in order to delegate the finances of the business to someone else, I needed to become an expert first and then delegate. I needed to become an expert at our sales process and then delegate that, at marketing and delegate that, and whatever else. And that was false. And that held me back. That held everyone back because, we're talking about Ken Younce before. He just focused on, getting his 3 sales a day. I'm focused on generating business, generating opportunities for CD every day. Everything else would get shoved to the side. A lot of the little details is very typical of visionaries, of very typical of founders, owners, right? We focus on the big things and the little details just kind of like slide to the side until we absolutely have to deal with them. Like until it's like the 11th hour, you have to deal with them. And so I had this, superhero complex where I felt I needed to, I didn't think it was ego. I think it was just ignorance. Right. And then we started building our leadership team, just having more vulnerable conversations. And I remember this conversation like with Elizabeth. I was like, man, you know what? I procrastinate on these things. I'm not good at them. I procrastinate at them. They're weaknesses of mine. I hate them. And she's like, oh, I love to do that. I'm like, really? Like, what's wrong with you? You love to do that stuff? And so realizing that like what you might hate or what is not a strength of yours is something that someone absolutely loves, or it's a strength of theirs. And you're not going to be great at everything in your business. You're going to be great at maybe one thing, maybe 2 things. And that was a big mindset shift for me in terms of developing just, our team, and people have their own zone of genius. And you and I talked about it yesterday, the delegate and elevate chart. What are you great at and what do you love? Like focus as much time and energy on those things and then delegate and elevate the rest. And I had this assumption that like delegating was like a bad thing. Like, I don't like these things, so I'm going to shove them off on your plate. Sorry, Diego, I'm going to give you this thing. But it's not that, because like I said, what I don't like might be something that you do really like and it lights you up. Right. So just getting out of your own way. I talk about I talk about that a lot in my content, like getting out of your own way. And that's where that comes from, is trying not to be the hero, for everyone, everything in your business, and surrendering, just having those vulnerable conversations with your team. Or, we have a peer community, you guys have Revolt, like a business coach, whatever that is, like just surrendering, be like, oh, I'm not good at this thing. Someone else, please take it on, because it's going to hold everyone else back. And that's been a huge shift.
I think that part of the thing too is part of the thing with the delegation is that a lot of times we just look for quick fixes. So I think it can be a bad thing if we're seeing it as a quick fix. Oh, I'm going to bring on this marketing agency because they're going to, all of a sudden, I'm going to have more leads. Or I'm going to, bring on this bookkeeper and all of a sudden I'm not going to have organization issues anymore. And it's like, no, you have to bring people in because I do think there needs to be an understanding of like, the overall things that they're doing so you can keep those people accountable and like, but yes, to your point, you don't have to know everything exactly what they're doing. And I think as long as you're bringing those people in with the attitude of, all right, I'm going to have time to be able to focus my energy into the things that I'm really good at, then yeah, delegation can be a great thing. Let me ask you this. You've mentioned now that you are, that you enjoy reading and you read 10 pages a day. So I believe last time we spoke, or the first episode we did, I asked you what was the most influential book you had read. So now it's been a little while. So let me ask you a different question of what's the best book that you've read in the last 12 months?
Man, I love reading. I actually do end up reading a lot of books, but I don't have a goal of like reading 52 books a year. I'm a big fan of rereading books. I buy the physical hard copies and I keep them on my bookshelf and I take notes and highlight because I'm always revisiting books. Man. I mean, this one I mentioned before, Shine, is really good. I'm putting it up there because it's, I recently read it. It just came out in April. And I'm actually in like a coaching group with these guys, Gino and Rob right now. So it's very much top of mind. So that would be up there. Benjamin J. Hardy's books like really align with me. There's some popular books out there where I read, I'm like, not really my flavor. Benjamin J. Hardy has written a few books. 10X is easier than 2X. Be Your Future Self Now, The Gap and the Gain, Who Not How. Those 4 books, I read those each 3 times last year in 2023. And I'll always I'm probably up for another reread. Just I read my highlights and notes. I don't read the whole book again, right? Because I like to take action on it. Those have been impactful for me. They just make a lot of sense for me and resonate with me. So Benjamin J. Hardy, I need to get him on our podcast or something.
He's a friend of mine. Do you want me to connect y'all?
Is he?
Yeah, like he helped me paint my house. Like we're friends.
Wait,
like
what?
This was 10 years ago. He went to Clemson. We were almost neighbors.
That's amazing. Yeah, I remember reading his books. Like he got his PhD at Clemson, right?
Mm-hmm. That's where I met him. And yeah, we were good friends. And literally, we've had them over for dinner. I've done their family photos. They adopted their kids around the same time we were adopting our kids. I don't remember if they went through the same agency, but like I'm like legitimately like close friends with them.
Wow, I had no idea. That's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll connect y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah,
no problem. That's and I'm going to say this. I'm sorry, Ben. I don't think he watches this, but I've not read any of his books yet. So I'm sorry, Ben. I apologize.
And most people right now in my position would be like, yo, what's wrong with you? You have to go read those books. Like, no, you don't. Like, I'm a big fan of like, what do I need? What do I need and want to learn right now in my journey in life and business? Like it's particular to everyone, I'm never like, oh, you got to read this. It's gotta be, there's gotta be a purpose behind it.
I've been stuck on $100 million leads, not because it's a hard read, but because it's been just like my Bible for the last year or so. Since it came out, I've just been like, all right, I got to do this. I got to implement this. There was just so much good information in there that I've now just reread all the different topics a bunch of times, and I'll pull it up and I'm like, all right, what do we have to do here and all this stuff. So so I've just been stuck on that one for a little while.
I hear that. It's sitting here on my desk, that and Offers for sure. And then Gary Vee's new book came out last week, Day Trading Attention. So I haven't read it yet. We ordered a bunch of those, basically a pallet of those. So we want to give them out to our clients, but I'm excited to dig into that.
Now you're like hanging out with Gary Vee at Chuck E. Cheese and stuff. So what's that been like?
Yeah, man, it's cool. We've had an opportunity to.
That's a real thing too. I didn't just make that up.
Yeah, we hung out. We were at his birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese in November, and then recently, a couple weeks ago, in Manhattan for another event. And we've got something else brewing with him in July, which I haven't shared yet. So I'll just leave that teaser for now. But yeah, just, intentional relationship building, and me and my boy Benny Fisher over the past several years, we've been able to build a pretty good relationship with him. It was pretty cool. A couple weeks ago, we were chatting with him about something, and I was emailing with Gary Vee, and he's responding to my emails, and that was cool. I don't really fanboy much, but like someone like that who's had a tremendous influence on my business and life, and I just really resonate with him being a good person. Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. And yeah, a couple weeks ago we were in New York for one of his events. Like, he spoke, it's like a 40-person event, and I remember just saying to Benny, like, dude, he's just like us. His companies are bigger. He's been doing it a little bit more, but like, he's proof that like you can be a really just good human being and be really successful. And he talks about that a lot. Like, nice guys don't finish last, So yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool. It's been cool. I said to Benny, like, we will be doing business with him at some point in the next, 5 years. I don't know how, but just putting it out there.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, chatting with me. I know time's flown by. I didn't even realize we were at 50 minutes, but but I appreciate you coming on the show, having me on your show, being a supporter of RoofCon, all of the things. I'll give you last 30 seconds just to plug, Contractor Dynamics. If people want to connect with you, where do they go?
Well, we just launched our new website a couple weeks ago, contractordynamics.com. We've got courses, we've got training programs, we've got a mastermind. We have something, whether it's free or paid, for everyone in the roofing industry at this point. So get in touch with us, reach out. We truly want to help. If you want to learn more about me personally, josephhughes.co. That's my website. It's not the .com. I couldn't afford the .com, so I got the CO. So I'll work toward that. But yeah, that's where you can go find us. Follow on content. We're putting out a lot of content every day. Just love to connect with people.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. To anyone that's watched, listened to the whole thing, we really appreciate you. Come to RoofCon. Get your tickets at roofcon.com. If you want to come and network and just meet with the vendors and all of that, and you don't want to pay for tickets, RoofCon, you can get free expo tickets. So we want everyone there. Same thing. We have paid options, free options. So come to the show. It's going to be a great time. And if you don't want to do that, at the very least, you should join our Facebook group, the Roofing and Solar Community on Facebook. We're at around 27,000 members in there. Great place to ask questions because we kick all the jerks out and made it a great place for the industry. So thank you, Joe, for coming on the show. And we'll catch you guys next time on the next episode of the Rise Above Show presented by RoofCon. Peace out.